Can y'all hear me? Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Quinten Thomas.
Quinten was 6'4", 200-something pounds, tattoos on his arms, a septum piercing, dreads, usually seen wearing sweats and slides.
If you just looked at him stereotypically, you wouldn't think that he was a college student. But he beat all odds in that sense. He was here at the university, he was doing well.
And it's really bad, when you have those kind of stereotypes as far as looking at him, you wouldn't think that he would come up to you, start a conversation, and be so gentle and warming, and that's definitely what he always gave to anybody. It didn't matter who it was.
He was real determined. Even through whatever he went through in the past. He was a foster child and getting bounced from home to home, not really having a stable home.
As a foster youth, only 50% of foster youth graduate from high school. Only, it now varies, but anywhere between 3 to 9% will graduate from the university. And I think if he would still be with us, he would be one of those students graduating soon.
He was in his 4th year of college, trying to be an RN, he had it all planned out. He wanted to be a registered nurse.
Look around. It may not look like anyone in here has been through any difficulties because those difficulties are hidden beneath those cool Nikes, that beautiful long hair, those nice earrings, or whatever it is teens are wearing these days. But we all have had challenges.
When I think of Quinten, I just think of how much he taught me, how smart he was, how much he wanted to do. It's so easy to judge somebody when they come walking in when we don't know who they are. We come in and everybody thinks your life is so shiny compared to someone else's, and they don't know what kind of baggage that we come in with. Everybody.
In a way, he did touch my life because he saw the good in everybody, and that's we had the same mindset, and he's very friendly, man, like a friendly giant.
Very friendly. When I first met him, he had a mean mug to him. And I'm like, is this dude really like this, or can I open him up? So when we became real close as friends, man, I used to have this dude dying laughing, and he had a good joy spirit.
His strength, he was really strong-minded. He always kept his head up, no matter he didn't really like to talk about his problems and stuff unless you really he'll talk to Gina about his problems though. But anyone else, I don't really think he'll really talk to him about his problems.
If this hour was the last hour I had on earth, and God told me to get my last words in before I left, I would say thanks to those of my EOP family for believing in me. This has been one of my best experiences in life.
Quinten was a part of our EOP Bridge program. So for those who don't know, EOP on this campus, Educational Opportunities Programs, admits students who are first-generation college students from low-income families from what are called historically underrepresented communities.
I originally met him in the EOP program, Summer Bridge 2014. We had class with Professor Amatsu. We never talked at all. We actually became friends when the actual fall semester started. I get a knock at my door. I look through the people, I'm like, it's Quinten. I know him from, obviously, my class. And then he answered, he was like, oh, what's up, Ty? He was like, can I warm up my pizza? You got a microwave so I can warm up my pizza? I'm like, I got you, bro.
He was very humble. He was very calm. You couldn't tell if he was having a good day, bad day. He just kind of always had the same temperament. Always so willing to have a conversation. You wouldn't think that he was gonna start a conversation with you. Looking at him, you're like, oh, this big, tall guy. You kind of get almost a little intimidated, right? And so, but it was really interesting because he was always kind of like, hey, Sierra, how's your day going? I'm like, I'm the mentor. I'm supposed to be asking you these questions.
He was always trying to make things better for everybody else. But sometimes I think he forgot to make things better for him.
I thought that all families were supposed to be dysfunctional because mine was dysfunctional. That was wrong.
He felt and he stated that his family was EOP and Resilient Scholars. That was the family that he had. During the years that I had known Quinten, he never talked about his biological family. He would just tell me, I don't want to go back to where I came from because it's not good for me.
I just hope that all of us never forget where we come from, and that when you look next to the person you're sitting next to, you might wonder where they come from.
You see, I come from a community of poverty, hate, and violence, and nonviolence means our comfort. Everyone in this room right now has experienced some challenge or challenges that could have potentially caused them to become failures.
The medical condition that he had, it was getting in the way as far as the academic goes, but I think if he was able to see the right doctors, it would have been different.
All I know is that he had a history with seizures, and I know that it happened even in a class during finals week.
He wasn't able to complete the semester because of medical issues. And then the minute the semester ended, he wanted to complete what he couldn't complete. And he was on my back. Come on, let's do it now. Let's do it now. Let's do it now. And I told him, all right, I'll just give you a C now. We'll take care of it. I'll double an exam. And that wasn't good enough for him. He wanted a better grade. He wanted to show that he was a better student. And he did. So he earned a B. And he was just disappointed that he didn't have the funds to be able to take classes.
During my 6-week stay at Residential Summer Bridge, I was able to gain valuable knowledge pertaining to academics, culture, and social interactions among my peers, professors, and mentors. I learned how to incorporate respect, responsibility, attitude, and maturity in order to complete any task life is going to put on my path to success.
Also wanted to do the best possible within college, but he realized that, the effects of the past always follow people, and you just can't simply forget about, the past.
Although your child may not show appreciation for all the things you worked so hard to do for her or him, he or she appreciates you. The biggest gift you could have given to any one of your children is life. Everyone loves life.
On his path to success, he had his first and only child, Ashanti.
He always talked about his daughter, which I remember vividly because that was actually one of my last conversations with him, was how much he loved his daughter and how much he was doing this for her.
I know that his daughter is going to be very proud of him. His daughter's going to do things that she never thought she would.
He wanted a better life for her. That's why he came here to CSUN. That's why he was here. He worked his butt off to, provide a better life, a better living situation, not just for himself, but also for his daughter. I feel like his daughter needs to know that he, whatever he did from that point forward, from the time she was born till, him passing, everything was for her. It wasn't for himself no more. Everything was for her.
I just don't want her to feel like he wasn't there, like he didn't want to be there, because he was doing everything that he could.
She went through the long 9 months of carrying me. And with no father, she put up with raising me to be what is now a man.
He loved his daughter with all his heart. I remember this one time I was pregnant, and it was getting close to my due date, and he told me that he went to class. He had announced to the whole class that he was having a baby, and then after she was born, he showed pictures to the class of the baby. And now I'm like, yeah, whatever. I didn't believe him, but I ended up getting a Facebook message after he had passed away. From somebody that was in the class, and she was like, yeah, I remember when you were pregnant and he had announced to the whole class that he was having a baby on the way. He showed us pictures and everything, and I just started crying. I'm like, oh, he was really telling the truth.
And being here at EOP Bridge has helped me to realize that parents are only human. Forget about the things you wish you had or could have had, and notice the things you have, and that's love. Thanks for coming, everyone. I want everyone to know that someone, somewhere, deep down loves you. Everyone loves life. My mom isn't in here right now, although I really wish she was. I'm not mad or upset about it. I love her.
He never asked for much. And also his daughter. When she's out there and, she's going to need that support, growing up. And then being in the foster care system, he didn't have, he doesn't have, family like that. And so I think that's something that I want people to know and remember. He was going through a lot of stuff, but he made sure that education came first. He always had to do what he had to do, whether it was put in a place over his head so that his daughter was okay and stuff like that.
His little girl was the best little girl in the whole wide world. He loved that little girl so much, and it made him want to be a doctor. And I really believe if he kept working towards that, he would have been. And it just doesn't make sense that his life was cut short.
When I found out about Quinten, it was just, I was surprised. I had a lot of mixed feelings because I didn't know. This is the worst thing that could happen to a young man like him.
We don't have the full story, and I think we're all kind of left hanging. And for that reason, it hasn't really sat well with us. And even some of the students, I've heard words like police brutality, or I've heard words of neglect. I've heard words of what if we could have done something for him? I just feel like the community in general is just thinking, what could we have done to save him? How did this happen?
When I first heard about it, I honestly thought like, oh, Quinten had a seizure while he was in custody. But then I learned that that's not really true. Well, I don't really know what happened, but the fact that he was in a one-man cell and ended up dead, it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm still trying to figure it out, you know? I just feel like we need like a complete story, some camera footage, something, you know?
I would definitely like to know answers as to what happened to my best friend, what happened to Quinten Thomas.
It's gonna make a movement.
Justice for Quinten Thomas.
Justice for Quinten Thomas.
Justice for Quinten Thomas.